안녕하세요. Hello everyone. My name is JUNE PAK. I'm a visual artist living and working in Toronto. First of all, I would like to thank the Korean Cultural Center for inviting me to their project Virtual Studio Visits. I think it's a great idea, especially during this pandemic, where we have opportunity to visit different studios across Canada. I don't have a traditional type of studio because my working process doesn't require a large space. I have a room in my house, and that's why you hear my dog barking. What I do here is getting my editings done, but most of my work is done outside of my studio. For example, one of my earlier works called Paint Job, um, I came across this colored chip called Algonquin Autumn, and the name Algonquin and the place Algonquin triggered some interest for me. Um, as the name, as many of you know, the associates with the group of seven, and and also because of that, it kind of attaches itself to this history of Canadian art and Canadian history, which for me is a slight facade of Canadian history because what's hidden and something that we often don't talk about or don't even think about is the settler colonial history that the Canada is hiding in a way about Indigenous history. So I thought it was interesting exercise for me to take these colored chips around different places, and I, in a way, invite myself to different people's homes. I explain what I'm doing, that I will be painting a little square in their place, a color of their own choice, and also location of their preference. Their homes become my studio. And the working outside of so-called studio continues in this ongoing project called the Invisible Transformation Project. Um, Unlike the paint job series where the locations were private homes, for this project, I took the work to public sites. The one you see here is a gallery at York University. So I would go there and you can see white wall, and then I paint it to yellow and cover the entire wall, and then paint it back to white. Um, the reason I picked yellow is because I wanted to kind of tongue-in-cheek kind of humor, yellow as a derogatory term for Asian, and as an Asian artist, leave my mark behind. And what you see at the end is just a white wall. You don't notice that, you don't even know that there is a yellow, but what happened with the yellow paint is that you completely change the nature of the white wall. During the first lockdown last year, I was curious to see what empty streets of downtown Toronto would look like. So I went outside with my camera one night. I wandered around the financial district. Then I came across this scene, brightly lit a bank and a small figure moving around inside. Then I quickly realized that it was a maintenance worker. And this stark, contrasting scene made me think of different types of labors. One that is highly visible and valued, and then the other is invisible or forgotten and less valued. The idea of invisibility continues in my work. And this book called Invisible Labor, I wanted to illustrate and also demonstrate different relationship, or this kind of a subtle relationship between art making, artist, and labor. I'm currently collecting stories on names for a new project. I realized that the name carries a lot more meaning. Sometimes it shows or represents histories of their migration. Uh, it could also be a strong political gesture, um, or sometimes it's an attempt to assimilate. And I don't know how it's gonna turn out at the end, but right now I'm simply collecting stories. Um, Anyone out there has any interesting stories to share, please contact me. Um, Anyways, thank you so much for visiting my studio. My studio buddy Inko and I wish you a healthy and safe summer.